All right. Welcome to the Lumpy Rug Podcast.
See, it just sounds better.
I'm Tommy,
I'm Jeff.
and it's just us two.
It is.
And that's why we went with the Lumpy Rug Podcast because,
Right.
you know, Justin was a hard no on that.
He was.
A hard no.
And all. I mean, just what it could have been.
I tell you what, if you are out there listening to this one, send us an email. Do you remember the email address?
I'm not even going to attempt it.
Oh, it's vertical.shift.podcast at gmail.com.
Vertical.shift.podcast.
At gmail.
Can we not get
We can
something?
change it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We're going to change that. But if you can somehow figure out how to email us on that, you will be our number one fan. Golly. All right.
Well, hey, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just me and you. We're just
Yeah.
going to have a chat
We're
tonight.
just me and you, Tommy.
We're just chatting it up because we're really like, there's no, we're not under the thumb of Justin.
Of Justin, yeah. It's
Right.
true.
He's our boss.
Mhm.
We get to handle the board ourselves too.
That's right.
Oh man.
Who knows what'll happen?
So we're coming up on, do you know this milestone? There's several milestones I think
Several.
I've heard. One is your birthday, which just came while like recently. You're getting old.
It's true. Almost as old as you.
Well, we're the same age right now.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
No, but 2 years of the podcast. So to celebrate that, I wasn't going to mention it. I might not mention it. I have a surprise for you and Justin.
Oh, yeah?
It's in my brain right now. It's not a
Oh.
physical surprise, but it will be.
I
a
don't
physical.
want it.
No, you. No, it's going to come out of my brain. It's going to It's going to manifest itself to
Okay.
something real and something cool.
All right.
So that's coming. So stay tuned for the surprise that will be coming.
Okay.
What's another? I'm trying to think of another one.
So Sunday
Another milestone.
marked 10 years for me
Wow.
on staff.
Decade.
A whole decade. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
It went really fast.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That'd be almost 10 years in for the men's group
I know.
because it wasn't long after
Like
you
6 months.
started. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wild. So,
Speaking of men's group, am I breathing heavy?
yeah.
Well, Justin's not here. So. Speaking of men's group, what you guys got going? So we split our men's group. Well, kind of. Pat and I are.
Kicked out. That's the way I refer to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pat and I are.
But in a good way.
Yeah, that's true. Kicked out of the nest.
Tommy and Pat had an opportunity to take some other guys and start a new discipleship group with them. And so they accepted that and have been going,
Yeah.
how long now?
A little over 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. And One Salvation.
Yes.
Yeah. What you heard about last week, which is awesome. And so, man, just cool things are happening in that, and some new people joined in, and the Lord's blessing that. And so yeah, what's happening in y'all's group?
Well,
What do you find is kind of, not necessarily in the study, but what you guys share about what's going on in each of your lives? Kind of what is there a
And that's the cool thing about it is we don't just get together just to do a Bible study. And leave. I
Right.
mean, we're really just are sharing our lives together and
Mhm.
helping each other. And even part of our prayer recently is just thanking the Lord for bringing us together to give us what a blessing it is to have other men praying for you and your family and
Yeah.
helping lift you up and all of that. So,
right?
but there's several topics that we keep circling back to. I would say some are, career, job that,
Yeah.
a lot of men, I mean, most men have on their shoulders the burden of carrying the weight of their family, the financial
Mm-hmm.
burden of, carrying their
And I
family.
don't think there's a man that doesn't want to be the provider, but the challenge is maybe the career that they've chosen is competing with family time.
Absolutely.
Or it's something that they're just not passionate about anymore, but they feel kind of stuck in that career because they've worked their way up and it provides. And so the thought of starting over and taking a demotion is scary. how do we do that, kind of thing. And so that's kind of a common thing going on right now, is some major career shifts and changes and the uncertainty and fears that come along with that. So
I would say also an important topic we talk a lot about is marriage.
yeah.
And it's really less about what we wish our wives can do for us, and it's more about, I mean, we can joke around about those,
Sure.
not joke, but we can talk about those things, but it really points back to what are we as men doing for our wives? It's that same old adage of, we can't control someone else's behavior,
Right.
but we can control our behavior.
Yeah.
And our behavior can influence someone else's behavior. So we can either help or hurt.
Yeah.
We can provoke or love. And so we talk about marriage in general, just the things that are going on. There's obviously, if you have children too, that brings an extra dynamic into it. And, it just goes along with whether there are health issues that are happening that, can create stress and anxiety, or there's, there doesn't have to even be issues for us to have things to talk about with marriages, though. I mean, it's a constant, it's a constant thing that we work at.
It is. And, I think, going back to the job situation and thinking about those things, what I encouraged the men to do was sit down with your wife. What are the priorities that you're looking for? And
are you asking what they're looking for?
In the career, like,
okay, yeah.
If you're going to make a career shift, it has to meet these things, right? Whether that's salary, time off, flexibility for family, whatever it is, those things that are so important for you, write those things down, because, and this is what I told them, a lot of the men have gotten themselves in situations because they didn't do that, number one, and they saw dollar signs and chased after it. You've experienced this, switching a career and then hating that decision and then trying to figure out how to get out of that is scary, because all of that weight of providing is on our shoulders. We want to, but then when that is what our reality, then it's kind of like, how do I fix this? How do I get out of this and yet not cause my family to suffer in the process? But really, it really does boil down to, I think of a song by Matthew West.
Sing some of it.
No, it's called "The Beautiful Things We Miss." And man, the lyric in that says, bigger homes still get divided, and it says, you can spend your whole time providing for all these things, and all they wanted was you, and you missed it, and so it really does come down to, in my opinion, if it's the most important thing, do what it takes to do that. If you got to downsize a home, if you got to sell a vehicle, whatever it is you got to do in order to now live in that new budget so that you can be present, so that you can invest in your kids, do it.
In my own situation, just looking back, I love peeling back the layers to really get to the root and the heart of these issues.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what we'll find is there's a identity crisis that's happening. So their identity has become what they perceive as important of who they are, based on their career, based on a title, based on money, right? And I think that boils down to there's a pride there because their identity is placed in the wrong category.
Well, especially in our culture. I mean, you meet somebody new and you're like, oh, hey, what's your name?
What do you do?
What do you do for a living?
Exactly.
Is that something to brag about, or are you kind of like, well, I'm kind of in between jobs, No, I mean, we equate what we do with who we are.
What if we started answering that question as, well, I mean, I have a job, but I follow the Lord. I follow Jesus.
Right, yeah.
I'm a lover of Jesus.
Right.
Hey, do you know Jesus?
Yeah. Right, yeah. Yeah.
I might try that, actually.
There you go. Be intentional with
I want to tell this quick story. A guy I worked with, you met him before. I'll just say his first name, Ryan. And he worked as a software developer at the company I worked for. We went on a recruiting trip to a college campus, and on the shuttle bus that took all of the people there that were part of the career fair, one of the guys on the bus turned around and asked Ryan, "Hey, what do you do?" He says, "Well, he said, on the side, I develop software, but I really love to lead people to Jesus.
Mhm.
Right there on the middle of the, I think I looked at him like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
And that stuck with me though.
Yeah.
It just struck me, his boldness, and
Yeah.
it was authentic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's who he was. And
Yeah.
it was funny too, because I hadn't been at that job very long. It's still the same job I'm at now,
Yeah.
8+ years later, but I hadn't been at that job, and you and I were praying about the job, and remember
Mhm.
you were helping, you going through all that situation, and just finding now myself at a place with other believers who are bold
Yeah.
in their faith. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
what luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't luck, but
Yeah. And I was sharing with the guys tonight, back in November, I got a random message from a lady. And basically, long story short, she was a part of my youth group when I was a 20-year-old youth pastor.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And she just wrote me out of the blue and just said, hey, you may not even remember me, but I want you to know you had a tremendous impact on my life as a teenager and my, initial walk with the Lord. And I had not seen or heard from her in 26 years.
what was the first thing went through your mind? Like, what? Like,
Yeah. Like it's just wild. And I think, the immediate reaction to that is God used a 20-year-old that had no idea what he was doing to impact somebody's life, because so many times we feel inadequate. But the Lord blesses genuine relationship with people and investing, and he can work beyond those things. But it just really showed me, because I was only the youth pastor there for 2 years. And of those 2 years, I don't think this lady was a part of the youth group those full 2 years. So even shorten that, and to know that I had an impact and where she's at today, 26 years later, and that she would immediately think of me about a certain situation that came up, and I just wanted to reach out to you about that. And I'm like, what in the world? That's crazy.
That's crazy. But I don't think that's very surprising coming from you, because you've had a lot of, what? I mean, you had angels knock on your door, and then they emailed you and stuff. So I mean, look, if you're listening to this podcast, you got to go back and listen to these other stories, especially Jeff's story and all that. Man, it's incredible.
It really does. It just blows my mind that the Lord allows us to be a part of things like that. And I say that because you never know the impact you're going to have on somebody's life. There's people that are in your life for a season, and that was a very short season of my life. When I look back, for her to say, you may not even remember me. And truthfully, because it's her married name that I saw, I didn't recognize the name. But when I clicked on her picture, I immediately remembered what this 15-year-old little girl looked like back in my youth group. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember her. And it just, I don't know. You just never know what sometimes chance conversations. I think about the guy I went to, like a mission conference thing where they were telling us about over in Arkansas, and they took us fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that story?
Yeah.
And I went out with the president of this mission deal, and we went fly fishing. I'd never done it before. And our guide, we just got to talking to him, and we got to lead him to the Lord right there on the river, and just having continual conversation with him to this day. Like, you just never know why the Lord has you in certain places for certain times. And, I was telling the guys tonight, Aaron and I, we've just been so busy with different things going on. And I was like, hey, let's just go for a walk. Like, finally, we got to get out. And 30 seconds down the road, our neighbors who are lesbians came out, and one of them did. And she was like, oh, hey, Miss Aaron, let me ask you a question. My son struggles with dyslexia, and I know you homeschool. What curriculum would you recommend? And so we talked to her for about 45 minutes. But it was just such a cool opportunity to watch my wife take little nuggets to put in of like, oh, we have some ladies at our church that specialize in dyslexia and helping kids. Let me find out what they say and kind of what they do, and I'll put you in touch with them. And so just watching what the Lord does with that, because we've been looking for a window of opportunity for them and to share with them. And so it was just really sweet. And just to get to to meet them and have a real conversation with them. You just never know the impact that those conversations will have. So,
Yeah, and going back to the job situations that we, as men find ourselves in, you mentioned writing the list of things that you want in the job. I'd also say it's important for you and your wife to write a list of the goals you have for your family.
Yeah, that's what I mean by those things. Are you going to be able to reach those?
And then compare those things together.
Yeah.
Because if you're traveling 90% of the time, you only have 10% of the time with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Is that enough to pour into your kids and your wife?
Right.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Is it worth
the money in the house and the cars? Or not even, it doesn't even have to be house and cars.
Yeah.
Just you've gotten used to a certain job.
Yeah.
And what is it? Do you desire to be away from your family more than that? So I'm just kind of playing this through my head. So let's assume you don't desire that. You want to be with them.
Yeah.
You see your kids are growing older and they need a father figure.
Sure.
There could be even evidence or symptoms of with behavior and stuff,
Sure.
when you're not there. So what is it?
Yeah.
What holds you back from making a true change? Is it your identity? Oh, well, I'm important in my job.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
I think there's a lot of
is
that.
Is it fear?
I think it's a lot of that.
Yeah. And so then you have to really start asking asking the question, well, if my identity is not in who I belong to,
mm-hmm.
well, that can answer the question why I'm afraid, because I don't put my trust in him.
Right.
And I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I'm not saying go quit your job tomorrow.
Right.
I'm saying these are the conversations, though. If you find yourself in this situation, as a man, we only have so much time with our family.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna end up on your deathbed wishing you had worked more, traveled more, or wishing you had time to spend with your wife, your kids more?
Yeah.
What kind of legacy are you leaving?
Yeah.
There's a song too. I don't want to leave a legacy. I want to leave Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to know the Lord through me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't emphasize it enough that, it would be the equivalent of getting this job, making all this money, and then giving it to someone else. Like, well, what are you doing? Well, the whole purpose of you doing this job is to provide and to get these things. So why would you give it away? And I feel like in the same way, like we are put on this earth to pursue the Lord and to invest in our families, and we're giving it to someone else and to something else. And we're missing that priority, that opportunity. Was it great for this lady to reach out to me after 26 years? Absolutely. But I want my kids to do that even more so. Dad, when you had this conversation, Dad, when you spent time with me, Dad, when you took me here.
Absolutely.
I don't want it to be, I'm so busy chasing whatever it is because of pride, right? Because of recognition of anything. Like that creeps into ministry as it does any other thing.
Absolutely. Easily. I can see.
We are human and we have to guard ourselves against those things. And so really, really, really focusing on what is the most important thing. And my wife is the best at keeping me grounded in those things and reminded of priorities and investing wisely. So yeah, I think, especially, doing this marriage class, I wanted to read this to you, Tommy, because you haven't heard it yet. But this book is by Greg and Aaron Smalley, and it's called Reconnected, Moving from Roommates to Soulmates in Your Marriage. And it just talks about that subtle drift, especially once you have children, right? And then you just kind of go into, you do your role, I'll do my role, and we'll team up and do this thing, as the day comes. And sometimes it's high-fiving each other as you pass each other. And then all of a sudden 10 years go by and you're like, what do we do for fun again? Like we don't even go on dates anymore. How did this happen? And it's kind of this subtle shift that happens over those 10 years. And then you find yourself kind of disconnected and not really pursuing each other like you used to. But I thought this story and this one was really powerful. So it's a little bit long. So, but
read the whole thing?
I'm going to read the whole thing because it's just that good. All right. So this is a story written by Geraldine Harris and Kristen Maddox about Satan's reworked plan to steal, kill, and destroy. Okay. So Satan called a worldwide convention. In his opening address to his demons, he said, "We can't keep the Christians from going to church. We can't keep them from reading their Bibles and knowing the truth. We can't even keep them from biblical values, but we can do something else. We can keep them from forming an intimate, continual experience with Christ. If they gain that connection with Jesus, our power over them is broken. So let them go to church. Let them have their Christian lifestyles, but steal their time so they can't gain that experience with Jesus Christ. This is what I want you to do. Distract them from gaining hold of their Savior and maintaining that vital connection throughout their day." "How shall we do this?" asked the demons. "Keep them busy with the non-essentials of life and invest unnumbered schemes to occupy their minds," he answered. "Tempt them to spend, then borrow. Convince them to work 6 or 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day, so they can afford their lifestyles. Keep them from spending time with their spouse and children. As their families fragment, soon their homes will offer no escape from the pressures of work. Overstimulate their minds so they cannot hear that still small voice. Entice them to keep the TV, computer, tablet, smartphones, and video games going constantly in their homes. Pound their minds with social media and news 24 hours a day. Invade their driving moments with endless choices of music, sports, and talk radio. Flood their mailboxes and email with junk, sweepstakes, and every kind of newsletter and promotion. Even in their recreation, let them be excessive. Have them return from their holidays exhausted, disquieted, and unprepared for the coming week. And when they gather for spiritual fellowship, involve them in gossip and small talk so they leave with souls unfulfilled. Let them be involved in evangelism, but crowd their lives with so many good causes that they have no time to seek power from Christ. Soon they will be working in their own strength, sacrificing their health and family unity for the good of the cause." It was quite a convention, and the demons went eagerly to their assignments.
Wow. I mean,
Right?
yeah.
When you stop and look back at your life, you go, holy cow, that was super successful in my life in this area at this time. I totally fell hook, line, and sinker for that.
You know, the beauty of this podcast is anybody can go back and rewind that and listen to that again,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of truth in that. You know, it's what I was thinking about while you're reading that is we've talked about before, at least in the United States where we are in our culture,
Yeah.
you don't see a lot of the demonic possessions. I'm doing air quotes, if you will, as much as you might see in a third world country,
Sure.
Remote area that doesn't have access to technology.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that, and we said, Satan just uses distractions and things. That's it. That story right there just nailed it.
Yeah.
Just nailed pretty much exactly. Even hey, allow them to go into their Bible study, or allow them to go, but distract them so that they sit and talk and chat and hang out and gossip and wow.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, just putting it out that guilty.
Yeah. I think the part, that my wife really, just from her perspective, was the part where it says, overstimulate their minds so they cannot hear that still small voice.
Absolutely.
You are so busy running, and so much of it is self-inflicted. I mean, and here's a prime example. Like, we literally taught this lesson, and then the next week we got a notification from Micaiah's coach that she made All-Stars in basketball in the district, and she got to be a part of the All-Stars team and a game and all this stuff. Awesome. It's 2 hours away. We'd have to drive 2 hours to go to a practice for 2 hours and then drive home 2 hours. We'd have to do that for her to practice with this team and then to play one game.
Wow.
I mean, we would give up literally the entire week to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we said no. I mean, we literally just read that. And I mean, everything in us is we're proud. Mm-hmm. We're proud of her. We want her to be able to do these things. And I think we as parents fall into that, like, oh my goodness, if we don't do this, then our kid's going to be behind and they're not going to have the opportunities like everybody else. And it's not true. It is truly a baited hook that they want us to, because I mean, and you know this, I mean, we have friends who have done the whole thing and chased after the sports and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And their kids get burnt out, or it doesn't lead.
I mean, all for what?
Yeah. At the end of the day, for what?
You
It's
just
a
missed out
game. Yeah. And we're not saying don't do sports. We're just saying, once again, same thing with the job. Have a list of priorities. These are things that we're going to do. If that frustrates and messes all of that up, then the answer is no. You got to have some kind of guidelines, some kind of accountability to really thrive in that, because otherwise it will throw it off big time.
You know, I'll be a little vulnerable here with you. So we did the 40-day fasting, and one of my was to cut out all social media, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't have it on today. But I found myself battling the other parts of, because my mind will just, even I sit and try to relax, or my mind just constantly wanted to think and do things. So I found a math game, and I'm just obsessed with playing this math game.
Sure.
And so now I'm finding myself battling this. I'm not going to Facebook and scrolling. I'm going to this math game to keep my mind busy and, you know, to keep sharp or whatever. But man, that's kind of convicting hearing that too. It's like, it's how much of
I mean, literally had this conversation yesterday with somebody that said, you're not doing these bad, sinful things anymore. But what you've done is you've traded that with time wasting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not these blatant sinful things, but it's not productive either.
But Satan is winning.
Right. So in the same sense, you're not looking at Facebook and doom scrolling. You're playing a math game. Stupid. At the end of the day, what are you accomplishing, right? Like what are we doing to learn how to be quiet again?
Yeah.
Quiet our minds to really be able to listen to that still small voice. Who can I call today? Who can I encourage? Who can I pray for? There is nothing more encouraging to me than when somebody texts me and says, hey man, I'm about to pray for you. How can I pray for you? Like, I love that. And that does not happen a lot.
What?
Does not happen a lot.
You need to read your text for me.
I do. They're usually criticism.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh goodness.
Hey, you know, real quick, can we I want to shift a little
Sure.
bit. Maybe a weird kind of awkward topic, but you opened it a little bit yesterday.
We got to come back to it for sure.
Well, it goes along with what you're saying, because one of the things that you mentioned was 10 years go by in a marriage and your roommates.
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect you as a man? We're just going to take it from a men's standpoint,
Sure.
right? Because I can't speak for a woman's standpoint. But from a man's standpoint, if there's a lack of intimacy, if there is, and this isn't, I'm not saying there's any fault here. I'm just saying the circumstance of the marriage.
Right.
There's no intimacy, and that doesn't necessarily mean sex either, but it includes it. But there's no connection. There's no, going on date night and enjoying each other.
Right.
That gives Satan a big opportunity to slide in.
Yeah.
And present, other, things to help release whatever tensions and stress that you have.
Yeah.
And pornography is such a huge, easily accessible tool.
Well, we talked about it, mentioned we were gonna hit on that tonight. And so with that, what happens is, especially nowadays, I was 9 when I was exposed to it, and this was pre-digital world. And so I can't imagine. And they say the average age that kids are exposed to pornography is 3rd grade, which is 9 years old.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. But it's at kids' fingertips, whether they want it or not. It's happening. It's all around. It's at school. So you can have your kid's phone blocked and protected and all the things, and they go to class and the kid says, hey, look at this. That's all it takes, And so, a lot of guys that I'm talking to have had pornography addiction since they were 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And here they are now in their 30s, 40s. Never talked to anybody about it. Tried to defeat it on their own. Lived this frustrated spiritual life of battling sexual sin. And you take your scenario of, well, now you're in this roommate type relationship with your wife that she's exhausted, she's tired, she's overwhelmed, and intimacy isn't happening. You just go back to what has always been there. And that's where pornography is so successful at destroying, because it's secret. It's you lie to yourself, you know,
I
to
think
justify.
it's easy to justify.
100%.
I mean, even though we talked about a little bit, you touched on the behind the scenes part. You're really, I mean, because there's such a need for it, then there's human trafficking and things that are illegal, that are disgusting, that are happening to help feed that demand.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What did I say? Well, it was like 870% increase in sex trafficking because of the pornography industry.
Yeah.
And how much it's grown. And it's just, and to know that there's no difference inside the church and outside the church of its stronghold, specifically on men, but growing even more so in women. And the enemy, like we just read, is super crafty, because most women would say, hey, for us, it's not the visual, it's the fantasy of reading a book, a love romance, and getting swept away in that kind of thing. Well, now they've wised up, and now they've taken that kind of storytelling, and now it's a series on TV and on Netflix that is pornographic, but you're hooked into this story. And so now you got people talking about they're watching these shows and these things that you're just like, man, the enemy just wins at every turn, it feels like. He's so successful in it. There's no need, to your point, for possession and all that kind of stuff, when all you have to do is distract.
Right. Yeah.
Keep them in shame, keep them in secret, and let it destroy marriages. And
So these are the things that we're talking about in men's group. And
right.
these are the things that are really at the root of the battles that we face. And if you don't have a way or a group to help navigate through that, give you godly advice,
Right.
You can't do this on your own.
Yeah.
And you said early on in the podcast, I may misquote the exact word you said, but you said, we may not feel like we're equipped to do, you're talking about sharing and things like that. We don't feel like we're equipped. And you were giving your story about being a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm. But,
even as adults, we on our own are not equipped at all, ever.
Not.
And so we're not equipped to defeat Satan and the enemy on our own.
Right.
He will win.
Yeah.
If we don't use the power of God, the Holy Spirit in us. It starts with a relationship. Look, if you don't know, if you question your salvation, if you wonder why you're continuously living in the same sin pattern of sin, repent, feel bad, sin, repent, feel bad, you got to start looking really deep into yourself and being really honest with yourself. Have you truly surrendered, sacrificed? That means sacrifice means to kill yourself.
Yeah.
No. Wow. You know what I mean?
Your flesh.
Yes.
And every day you have to lay that down. Your sinful desires, all of that. You have to deny yourself and take up your cross and follow him. And you have to come to a place where you recognize, I am weak. This has a hold on me. It is a secret, shameful thing. I have to find somebody that I can trust, and I have to talk to somebody about this, because I will not defeat this on my own. I have to confess this and work through this with somebody that's going to hold me accountable, that's not going to let me make excuses or justify. But the enemy says, you're the only one that struggles with this. You can't tell anybody.
You'll be embarrassed. They'll make fun of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be kicked out.
Nobody
Shameful.
understands.
The Lord
100%.
doesn't want you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those
absolutely.
lies will creep in.
Because here's the thing.
You're too filthy.
Here's the way pornography works, right? It piques that interest. It hooks in quickly and immediately. You have all these curious ideas and questions, and so then you just go on this rabbit hole of searching different things, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a situation where you're looking at something that is so shameful, and you can't, like, how did I get here to this point? Well, I'm not telling anybody that, and that's where, I mean, reading this book, this freedom fight, you've got people that have gone down this road so long. Like sin is going to keep going down this road till it destroys you completely, right? And so there are so many situations where, like, people would say, yes, I have looked at pornography, but I ain't telling anybody I've looked at child pornography.
Oof.
Right? Like, that's shameful. That's disgusting. I can't believe that I even did that. Right? So then that is the shame that comes in and keeps people in bondage. Like, there's case study after case study through this book of different things that people have looked at. And the enemy knows, hey, if I can get them to look at that one thing, I got them. Don't tell anybody.
So then they can't admit it or
Yeah,
whatever.
they can't admit it.
Wow. Well, I was sitting here thinking that just like you can't become an alcoholic unless you take a first drink, right? I may have butchered that, but something like to that nature. It requires a first drink to become an alcoholic. Or no one ever took a first drink set out to be an alcoholic, but that's where it starts.
But if they never drank, they never would have become one.
So in the same sense of, I think about affairs or, those types of things. A lot of those ideas come from pornography.
100%.
And what it starts with the, looking at the porn and fantasizing and doing that.
Right.
But as you continue down that, it's going to grow greater. That's going to be less interesting.
Yeah.
You continually have to do more and more and more.
Yep.
It'll lead to extramarital affair. It'll lead to.
Well, you take pornography and that, what you're describing right there, and then you take what I just shared about becoming roommates, and there's no time for each other.
That's
all
your
it takes
recipe.
is one person to go, "Hey, you look nice today," and then the enemy just takes that and runs with it, And so it really is. And I want to pause right here, and I want to say this: if you're a guy out there, you're connected to us in this community or not, reach out for help. You're not alone. You're not going to scare any of us away by anything, but we want you to know that this is a safe place, that you can reach out and ask for help. And I remember as a young man battling this and finally having somebody to talk to, because they talked to me. And I was like, okay, I can talk to you. I'm not alone, right? I'm not crazy. This is something that affects more than just me. And so it wasn't until I had that I was able to be set free. And so in that, we are offering that to you. Don't stay hidden in this shame and these things. And I'll even go even further. Like, I've even had somebody say, yes, to your point, Tommy, yeah, I've looked at pornography and I want to change from that. And that's terrible. What they didn't tell me is how far it took them down that road, and that they had actually made connections with somebody online and was having conversations with a real person. And so, that's a whole different ballgame that you have to deal with now, right? Because that's where sin is going to take you.
That's right.
So you have to be willing to come forth and come clean and to be honest so that the Lord can work. And just like we read tonight in our group, his desire is to reconcile all people to himself. And that's dealing with all of it, all the junk. And so we just have to come forward and be honest. And so I say that to reach out to us, and if you attend our,
if you know us personally, send us a text.
yeah, send us a text.
If you don't know us and you have some questions, send us an email.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we truly want to see families thrive.
Yeah.
And we're coming at this from experience too. We've all had certain struggles.
Yeah.
We've all come through different parts of our life where, and through that, the Lord has redeemed us, and we want to share that same redeeming love.
Yeah.
Listen, you can't do the same thing and expect a different result.
Right.
And if you truly want to change, if you truly want a different result, step out. Have no regrets,
Yeah.
because you will if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that just kind of goes back to everything that we talked about tonight is really getting to a place where you're like, what is the most important thing? My relationship with the Lord. And if there's anything that is inhibiting me from pursuing the Lord, I need accountability. I need to seek help. I need guidance in that. And so, guys, please, 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 hear our plea for that. Contact us, reach out to us. We'll be glad to sit down with you, to encourage you, and really point you to this book, The Freedom Fight. We'll dive into more of that later too. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you.